Give it a shot.
Go.
Hi everybody, Don here. We're out here on the floor of my little workshop because I don't have any table space to do anything like this anywhere else except maybe the bed in the house right now. So what I've got here is a Musalady double cut guitar kit. This is basic junk that you get off of eBay, you know, $105. I think I paid $87 for this one, plus shipping and whatnot. It came out to like $105. All mahogany wood. It was bare, not too bad. There was a couple of little dings and scratches. One of them's right there. The tone pots that came with the kit, dime size, generics, no particular brand name on them. The wiring that came with this particular kit was definitely insufficient. You got to buy your own wires. I didn't really like the tuning keys that came with it. And the ones that I bought for it ended up having just a tiny hair of a bit short of a peg. So I'm going to have to countersink the holes a little bit to put the washers around the outside of the base nuts there for the guide. As you can see, I also didn't like the plastic nut that came with the kit and put a brass nut on the guitar. I also changed the strings. That's a set of Dean Markley acoustic strings on there for now. Still way better than the ones that came with the kit. The switches, the tone knobs, all the good stuff that came with the kit, it is adequate. It does work, but it's nothing to brag home to mom about. If you're buying one of these kits because you want to get the experience of building a guitar yourself and, you know, maybe dig into it a little further so that you can understand things like how you set your intonation and action and filing your fretboard and stuff, this is a great kit. It's a great starting bass board. I mean, you know, for $100 you really can't go wrong. But here's the thing. You know, for the money that I've spent, for the money that I've invested, I could have probably just gone out and bought a guitar and then done a minor modification or two to it and had the same basic thing that I've got right here without all of this ordeal and whatnot about going through it. Now, that's not to say that the wood isn't worth it or that the kit itself, the way it comes, isn't worth it. I mean, if your intention is just to throw it together and, you know, do it as a project like mine was, then you're all good. But you know, don't get the idea that you're going to take one of these kits, and bring it home and have a $1,200 instrument because when you're done, because that's just not going to happen. There's a couple of things about the kit that you know, that just, you know, say advanced. You know, and the first one that said advanced to me was the fact that I didn't know what the fretboard's length was. Okay, so I had no clue as to what the scale was. I had to measure from the beginning of the board to the middle of the 12th fret to get my actual scale length, which is 2 times whatever this distance is. So, and then there's the matter of this 3-degree twist here, which I didn't have any clue about. That's also really kind of a requirement if you want to be able to get your bass strings to intonate correctly with this particular style and design. Overall, the only thing that really came with the kit that I liked was the bridge and the tailpiece. The switch is fine. The knobs and tone pots, they're small. They're nothing to brag home about. They're going to be replaced with quarter-sized tone pots. probably CTS later on as I get down to it. The pickups, they don't have adjustable poles. They have the end adjusters on them, so you can raise and lower the action to, match up with the pickup's magnetic field. But they do not have adjustable poles on them. This particular guitar has that 12 fret radius on it, and so the center strings are a little bit higher than the outside edge strings. So your E and your E string, when you bring up the pickup closer to the string, well, they seem to jump out at you as being a little bit louder. And because this is a model that doesn't have the adjustable hex screws, you can't really do anything with that. That being said, for $105, taking it home and the experience of just putting together, joining up the neck, and doing all the wiring of the electronics, fantastic experience, well worth the $100. But, if you're a player, if you're an artist and you're a real musician, well, I don't see you being happy with taking and going and just buying one of these kits, because the fret ends are all rough. They're still sharp. The fretboard was fine. Surprisingly enough, it had been sanded. It was level. It matched up with my fret ruler perfectly. I did sand it anyway, but no problems there. Just the usual sharpness of the edges and the fact that the frets themselves need polishing. Nothing unexpected, but you're going to get that off of any kit guitar you buy, I'm pretty sure. And you're probably going to get that also off of any of the instruments that, fall into this kind of a price range. I mean, when you're kicking these instruments out so quickly, detail items like sanding and polishing that sharp edge off of the end of the frets is going to fall to the wayside, because these companies are going to be way more concerned about how the surface finishes and about how the end product looks overall. But if there's a problem underneath here or here, they don't care. As long as it's covered, as long as you can't see it, it's there. So in that respect, you do get what you pay for. That's for sure. In the $100 to $150 ranges, these kits are okay. But remember that none of this hardware really was adequate. I didn't like the tuning pegs that came with it, not because they weren't good tuning pegs, but because they had some sort of antique ivory peg on the end that was almost like this green color. It was horrid. There was just no way I could match it up to any of the other hardware. I mean, couldn't find a replacement that I could just swap them out with, so those were nixed right off the bat. Just little things like that. The pickups not having the hex adjusters on it, that was a really big deal. And so basically, what you end up with here is a body. And all the basic stuff you need to start with an instrument. There's tone pots, the switch, the pickups, everything's there. But, by the time you start piecing these things in, for example, one of the things that I wanted to add to the guitar was a variatone switch. This is basically going to go in between where the capacitor goes on the volume switch, and on the tone switch. And what that'll do is that'll allow me to change from one capacitor to another. This coil here does a little bit of the sound filtration, creates a little bit of the resistance in the circuit. This was on the Gibson SGs and on the Gibson ES335 guitars. And, well, this here particular item
Okay.
Well, this particular item cost $40. Now, that's with shipping and the fact that the tone pots here are ceramic tone pots. They're all high quality stuff. This was done by a eBay seller, Ross Davis Guitars. He actually made this himself. So this isn't something that he bought. He did a real good job on the soldering. The tone pots are supposed to be vintage 70s models tone pots, and they look to be correct for capacitors from the 70s. Definitely ceramic coated ones, but you know how that is. He could end up with counterfeits of these just like anybody else, but hopefully that makes a tone difference.
Here we go.
Well, you can see the ceramic tone pots on there. This was an extra thing. I paid him $35 for this plus the shipping costs. Came out to like $42 something with tax. Not a bad price. This is an Alpha switch. It's a real brand named one. There's a little stamp even on the side. I don't know if I can read it or not, but it is there.
Oh, right. There it is.
Alright, yeah, there it is. So the kit is wonderful. It really is. It was a great experience. As you can see, I didn't do anything much with it. It's got some beautiful grain to it by itself. The actual techniques for the finishing of it were baking soda dissolved in hot water, and then the solution of baking soda and water painted down. Wet the whole thing down with the solution for 20 and let it sit and dry off for 24 hours. And I come back with a steel brush, and I brushed all the grain down real good to get any of that baking soda that might have crystallized in the surface back up and out of it. And then I grain filled with a water-based ebony colored wood filler to highlight the grain a little bit, make it pop a little bit more. A ton of sanding to take and smooth all of that out. And then a can of Watco spray lacquer to finish it, and that was like four or five coats. I know that I finished up my final sanding at 600 grit. I'm pretty sure I started somewhere around 2. But anyway, the main thing I want to do right now is I want to demonstrate a technique that I had described to me. I want to see if it works. If it doesn't work, that's okay. It's on my guitar, it's not on yours. And we'll see how it works. Basically, I need an extra hole in this body so that we can fit the variotone knob in. It's already finished, it's already done. Major tragedy, right? Damn, it should have been in there first. But anyway, here's my supposed solution. This is an old timer told me to try this. So this is what I'm going to do. I tape the body with some painter's tape just to keep this piece of wood from scratching up the body when I clamp it to the guitar. The hole that I'm going to be drilling is right in here. And according to how this is supposed to work, when I place this wood over the hole and I clamp it down, this is supposed to keep pressure behind the hole as I'm drilling through the body, so that it doesn't splitter outwards and spread out and crack and spread out, leaving me a great big huge splinter crack up the beautiful finish of my done guitar. We'll see how that works. I don't know. We'll see. Here we go. Might not fit.
And that's the next biggest, isn't it?
Yeah, you can do it with one if need be. If need be. Yeah, if need be is right. I have to do it with one. No, if need be. Alright, I guess I better bring that closer. Because this is about keeping that pressure.
It's not on your,
No, it's only on the, right about there. I don't want to block the drill from being able to get in either. There we go. That should do it. Already marked my holes, got my handy dandy little drill here. Oh, wait a minute, not a drill at all. It's an impact driver with a bit. Okay. And I pre-marked my hole. So, here we go. One. Next up. Two. Now we'll go to real drill bits. Let's see. There we go. Almost there. I believe I should just go ahead and jump to the last bit at this point. Where is my little thingy to... There it is. Open that up. Yeah, I think that's going to do it. Maybe I felt it cut. There we go. Final hole right on this desk. I don't think it's going to do any better with these other bits. Alright. There we go. There it is. Woohoo! Alright.
hold on.
There it is. There's my little hole. Well, let's see if the old man's advice worked. If so, we are happening and happy. If not, well, live and learn. Here we go. Wow, look at that. That came out all right. That came out all right. No splintering, no tearing. That's cool. That's cool. It worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. Well, there you have it. I'm going to take and get Mr. Ross Davis's switch installed in here. And he also sent me an old pickup. I don't know. I haven't. It's a real hot Invader style pickup. I've got some more like this coming, but he sent me this one after he repaired it as a freebie because this was for my personal guitar build. I'm going to order another set of this particular style of pickup, but I don't believe they're going to be as good as these. This is like a 15.6, 15.9 ohm Duncan Design Invader. Yeah, well, I'm not sure he has a shop in his hometown, but I know that he sells his stuff on eBay. Donates a percentage of what he takes of his work there to the Muscular Dystrophy Society. He seems like a really nice guy, real knowledgeable. Hey, this soldering is so much prettier than mine. You know, I'm real impressed with the man's work. And there it is. It fits right in the hole. No problem. So basically what's going to happen here is because of all of these capacitors and whatnot, I'm going to take and move the tone pot here into this hole, and I'm going to put this chicken head switch into this hole. And I don't know how well you can see it, but there's your tone pot's capacitor. And basically what happens is the hot wire, which is the white wire, goes to where the capacitor is soldered up on that center. See that the capacitor here, the ground wire, which is the black wire, goes to the top of the tone pot. The center lug is where the hot wire or white wire will go for the other side of the capacitor, and that puts that into the circuit and allows it to take the place of that capacitor. So I will have 5 different capacitors in the guitar instead of 1. So there you have it. Thank you much.
More coming later.
Boy, it wasn't even recording, was it?
I don't think so.
Well, it is now. How about that? Anyway, I pulled the tape off of the hole. As you can see, wow, look at how big my finger looks in that. It's a real nice, clear hole. I mean, you know, I've never, ever had that clean of a hole on a drill through like that before. That is awesome. So it worked. Tape where you're going to drill at, put some wood behind it, compress it so that it can't splinter outwards and inside out. Boy, oh boy, that works awesome. Alright, thanks for reviewing, guys. See y'all later.
Okay.
Hey everybody. I just wanted to make a couple of minor corrections. Earlier in the video I stated that the capacitors were ceramic. They're not. They're polycarbonate Fishman capacitors. And I admitted, and they're from the 60s, and I omitted one portion of my review that I didn't realize that I admitted until after I re-reviewed it. And this is the other reason why I felt like these kits were advanced. The wiring diagram was useless. There was just no way that I could have used the wiring diagram that came with the kit to wire the guitar. And I'm a communications tech from the military, and you know, I can handle that kind of thing with a proper diagram, but I had to hunt down the diagrams. Now, I found those diagrams at guitarkitworld.com, and they've got a bunch of different wiring diagrams there, and I'm sure you can find them in other places. But you know, if you're going to buy one of these kits, make sure and find a wiring diagram for it before you go and order it, because I cannot begin to tell you how much of a problem it is trying to, you know, sort that stuff out if this isn't something you do all the time. And I wanted to clarify one more thing. When I was talking about you know, clones and counterfeits, you know, earlier in the video, I really didn't clarify that enough, and I need to make this perfectly clear. Clones are great as long as they're identified as clones, and counterfeits are bad because they're stealing from anybody that buys them. Now, this guitar that I built is a clone. It makes no claim to be a Gibson double cut guitar. It's deliberately not finished to not infringe on their copyrights, and it's just something that, you know, you really need to think about, because, you know, our companies are dying because of these cloned instruments, tools, you name it, items. I mean, you know, and it's not just our economy that's being killed by it. And, I mean, we're in the middle of a trade war because of all of this stuff, you know. So I personally, my opinion, clones are okay, but they have to be identified as such. But counterfeits are bad. And I'm going to close out the video with a clip of my buddy Britton playing a tune by Riley Green called Bury Me in Dixie. And he flips through the chicken head switch, so you guys can kind of get an idea of the effect that having the variotone switch in the guitar actually has on the sound that you're making. The whole thing was done through a Bugera V55 amplifier, tube amplifier on a clean setting. All of all of the settings were set to the middle of them. As far as the tone goes, the reverb was turned off, and the presence was also at middle mast. I felt that you really would want to hear how this stuff was clean, and it's kind of hard to tell what's going on with sound when it's being distorted deliberately. So he played a really nice bit of Mr. Green's tune. I think it sounds great, and I think it'll demonstrate why I went through so much after I built the guitar to put this switch in the guitar, and it'll give you guys a good idea of what its use is and whether it'll be useful to you or not. Anyway, thanks again for watching.